begun. The transurrections have. It would appear that the Nashville Christian school shooting carried out by I was wrong when I talked about it before. I described them as a beautiful trans woman. They're a very handsome and strapping trans man. This trans man carried out the school shooting against the Christ Cucks at the, what do they call it, the Covenant School. And anyway, that seems to have sparked a nationwide transurrection. Insurrections at various state capitals are being led by transgendered individuals, all of whom are seeking to overthrow the various state governments, Kentucky, Tennessee, and I think there was even one other. And this is all in the last couple of days. As we see more and more states try and outlaw the practice of child mutilation, we are going to see more and more of these transurrections as the Rainbow Jihad, the Alphabet Movement, whatever you want to call it, Big Gay, TM, the TM, of course, for trademark, whatever name you give them. I think that this might be the final stages of them exposing what their movement is truly all about, and that is waging war on human civilization as it's been understood and practiced for thousands of years. They are trying to rewrite, overthrow, and abolish the rules of not only our society, but of human civilization going back into the mists of history. They're leading a violent insurrection against everything that is correct in this world. And I don't say right as in just, as in, morally upright. I just mean truthful. I can't remember who it was way back in 2015 or 2014 even. It was either Milo Yiannopoulos or Steve Bannon, who proclaimed that we have officially entered the post-fact or post-truth era. I can't even remember what the exact phraseology was. But it stuck in me at the time, and more as time has gone on, whoever it was, either Bannon or Yiannopoulos, I think it was Bannon, they've been proven correct. I think a lot of us know that there is no reasoning with these people. We've known it for a long time. I've known it since 2015. That was a real turning point for me. Nikki Haley lowering the Confederate flag, that was kind of my red pill moment to where I realized, hey, there's no reasoning with these people. I realized that there's nothing that Nikki Haley could have done to appease them other than give in to exactly what they want, which is, of course, what she did, because that's the kind of Republican she is. And it was true not only with that flag that was on the site of a Civil War monument. It's true with everything. This is how the enemy, I don't even want to call them the left, because this is bigger than just the left. It encompasses people outside of the left, and it also doesn't include some people who are on the left. These people exist on the left, and they exist on the so-called right, though they are predominantly of the left. That is the mantle that they mainly take up. And the alphabet people, and increasingly the transgendered so-called self-described folks, they're the tip of the spear. They're the brown shirts. And like the brown shirts, at some point, if their cause is successful, they will be purged as the psycho Looney Tunes that they are, just as Hitler purged the brown shirts for being the drug-addled, orgy-loving homosexual fiends that they were. It's ironic. I didn't even make the connection before now that the transgender movement and the brown shirts were both extensive sexual deviance by the standards of their time. And so we can't get too distracted and think that, oh, these people are the true essence of the enemy. It's not the case at all. This is the public front. They're the shock troops. The trannies are not the head of the snake. They're useful idiots, actually, more than anything. These are people who have undergone the most extensive brainwashing imaginable, more so than anyone in our society, and therefore they are prone to the most extreme acts. There is not going to be, some civil war between the transgenders and the rest of America. If only it were that simple. If only people thinking that they were that they can be whatever they want at any given time, that they can be shapeshifters, that they can be deer people, as executives at certain tech companies believe. I wish it were that simple. I wish that were the issue, that was the big issue dividing us. Because you know what, that would be something that we can win. The facts are on our side, and it's pretty indisputable. But that's not it. That's a wedge issue. It's a cudgel. It's a microcosm of the greater divide, and it is a loyalty test, essentially. Most of the people who give in to it, they understand that it's not true. The people who accept it, who call people by whatever pronouns they want, but don't identify as something other than what they are themselves. The normal appearing on the surface leftists, going along with the pronouns in the bio, that's a way of signaling that they're not a part of us, that they're not with us. It signals to others of their ilk that they are willing to go along with whatever the current trend is, no matter how absurd. As long as the right people tell them that that is what they are to stand for, they are willing to stand for it. You see, it's natural to want to live as a normal human. It's natural to want to be who you were born. It's natural to want to contribute to society and to make the world a better place. Human instinct, or human nature, often gets a bad rap, but we have a lot of good in our nature as well. It's not all bad. There's a lot of good instincts. And these people are signaling that they're willing to set those instincts aside, that they're willing to rebel against the most basic tenets of human civilization. They cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be merely tolerated. They won't allow us to tolerate them. They cannot be ignored. They refuse to be ignored. When you ignore them and try to cloister yourself and go about your own life and live as a good, normal person, they do what we saw in Nashville. That's why so many have been inspired after this incident. They saw what happened, and they liked what they saw. Even if they're not willing themselves to pick up a gun and kill people, they agree with the sentiment. We've heard that over and over again. We're seeing it echoed in the media. I don't know what shape this whole situation is going to take in the near to medium term, but in the long term, one thing's for sure. This will go away. These people, even if they're not defeated, will die out. There are certain elements which have been consistent across human history, and they're not all good elements, but they're all there. And we cannot simply abolish those things. We're not masters of the universe. We're not gods. Certain things just are the way they are, and they will forever remain that way. But until the long term rolls around, I think that we're in for a bumpy ride. There's going to be a lot of heartbreak and devastation. And I think that there will be more violence, too. I don't want any of that to happen. I'm not prescribing any of it to happen. You may notice that, I'm not entertaining any arguments here today. There are no arguments to be entertained. There's a reason why I don't talk about gender ideology on this channel. It's not relevant. It's not realistic. It's not something worth discussing. There are enough people who waste time, and I don't want to say it's a total waste of time. I mean, somebody needs to take this stuff apart, but the vast majority of people, even today, you don't need to tell them that. They understand it implicitly. The people who don't understand this are, simply put, those who revolt against their nature. And that's the bigger story here. It's not that some people believe these crazy things. It's why some people are even able to to delude themselves into thinking these things. That's what interests me. Its implication on the broader society. If I were about, 5 or 6 years younger, when I graduated high school, there were 0 people. I can tell you, in my graduating class, who would have believed that they were a different, something other than what they were. Let's put it that way. Because now even the term gender is a loaded phrase. When I graduated, there was none of that. Not amongst any of the kids in my graduating class. If I graduated 6 years later or so, probably would have been about 20%. I'm just taking a wild stat. This is an epidemic. Plain and simple. This is a new thing. And it's a symptom. It's not the problem in and of itself. It's a symptom of the breakdown of our civilization. So with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.